It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
At Rolls Rolo, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. Here we are live in Waco, Texas. We are so happy to be here this morning, presented by Slovacics. Of course, I am flanked by Scotty Swingler, who brought donuts, who brought Shipley's Donuts and kolaches. But we're not sponsored by Shipley's. I don't know why I said that. You should have stopped at Slovacics. You see that logo right there over Larry Bird's face?
I wish Slovacics was just a little bit closer to downtown Waco.
Well, make sure you get to Slovacics, and you're allowed to go to Shipley's too. Also, we'd like to thank our friends at Socorro Family Ford, D1 Dallas. We got like an awards banquet / event going on at D1 Dallas here on Thursday night. I'll be out there for that. And excited about today's show. We got Chuck Everson, member of the 1985 Villanova Wildcats, joining us. Chuck is a friend of the show and one of the all-time good guys in college basketball. He's got a podcast called Big East Rewind. And if you're from where I'm from, you know that the Big East, through the 80s, into the 90s, into the early 2000s, and it still is a very relevant conference, but it was something special. And Chuck is a big part of that. In his podcast, Big East Rewind, Chuck's guests he gets everybody, and he does unbelievable numbers on the show, and that in itself speaks to the special placeholder that the Big East has had in our hearts forever. At least guys like me, like I said, from where I'm from. So pumped to have Chuck on the show. Pumped to talk about the Cowboys. I literally was like up late at night thinking about why this coaching hire. I was thinking about how it can work, because I think that it's pretty easy right now to be negative. Because yesterday, going back and watching that press conference where Jerry spoke to the media with Stephen Jones, and he was out there with Brian Schottenheimer. Dak Prescott was there. Some players were there, and it's becoming pretty clear to me that this move is more about Dak Prescott than initially I think, at least I was able to kind of diagnose, this is about Dak because he's worked with this coordinator before and he obviously has a relationship with him. But now I'm thinking like this is so much about Dak Prescott, and that makes it actually not terrible, I guess. Like, if again, I'm trying to stay positive, and I know not terrible is what a Cowboys fan wants to hear. Cowboys fans don't want to hear Jerry Jones talk about, hey, if you only knew, I would write, how big the check would be that I would write for the Cowboys to win another Super Bowl. Yeah, okay, that's great, but like that's not what it takes to win. That's not what you do. You have to be efficient from a personnel standpoint. On the field and off the field. And yesterday, Jerry made very clear that like nothing was going to change in the hierarchy for the Dallas Cowboys. Nothing is going to change as far as how the organization is run. We're talking about obviously the hiring of coaches, the signing, re-signing of players, the draft. So all this is going to stay the same. So this is where it comes down to, and I'll get back into the Dak Prescott thing in a second and how that could be positive. But this is where, as a fan, I talk about it, right? I'm sober. I go to 12-step meetings. There's traditions, but you're supposed to like keep that close to the vest. It is anonymous, but I've shared my journey before. So I was at a meeting yesterday, and a great meeting, and this woman who I love and respect was talking about her sister. And her sister's going through something really tough in a relationship with her husband. And so this woman, Anna, who I love, who is like a spiritual giant, right? Like she's been around, been sober forever. She's super like even keeled through the program. And so she's become like a lighthouse for people that have problems. So her sister gets in touch with her and is like, my husband's driving me crazy. And this thing is, rinse, repeat, right? So her sister's telling her how crazy her husband is. And, this is, the umpteenth time we've had this conversation. And Anna was like, look, you got to make a decision. Either you're in or you're out. But if you're in, you have to take a different mindset. And there's an acceptance, right? That you have to take. If you're going to be with this person, like you're not going to change him, right? Like, this is who he is. And there's a radical acceptance that comes if you stay in a relationship like that can actually make the relationship better, in a sense where you stop focusing on the other person, you start focusing on your response to that person. All this can lead to a somewhat serene existence. Again, great acceptance, but also you have the opportunity to leave, which is like very much on the table and very much something that you are entitled to do, right? Walk away, which is not easy at all. It's not easy to walk away from a relationship or what might be a family. And on a lesser version, but maybe the same, it certainly is not easy to walk away from an organization that you have loved and rooted for some people 50 years, right? But if you're going to stay in, you might as well start looking for the positives and start accepting stuff. All right. So here's my positive for Cowboys fans, because I imagine that you're staying in. So yesterday, Ed Werder was at the press conference, obviously, with our own Matt Mosley. They put up a great Doomsday podcast that you folks should listen to. It's super insightful. I put it on last night while I was like going to bed. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast while I'm going to bed. And it was so compelling that it actually kept me up and got my mind racing about the Dallas Cowboys, which at some point then I get up to go to the bathroom and look in the mirror. And I'm like, what? Why am I thinking about the Cowboys at 12:30 a.m.? And then into even later hours. So the Cowboys are keeping me up too, and I'm not even a fan. But I found what Ed Werder said about Dak Prescott to be extremely compelling and insightful. And I was surprised it didn't get more traction, but I would imagine if more people listen to the Doomsday podcast, which the numbers are really good, but somebody could hear this and run with it and kind of aggregate it. Dak Prescott was sitting right behind Ed Werder, among other players for the Dallas Cowboys. And Werder said that, Schottenheimer would talk about the plan or about what the Cowboys are going to do going forward with this new approach, right? Obviously, a new head coach who has a great relationship with the quarterback. Again, a relationship that was obviously better than I understood. And so Dak is behind Werder. And as Schottenheimer is talking, Dak is giving like affirmations, maybe kind of under his breath, like, yep, yes, sir. Yep. So that is, to me, very, very reflective of just how important this decision is for Dak Prescott and for the Cowboys. Now, here's another thing too. And Jerry addressed this, right? This was, again, another little nugget you can find in the Doomsday Pod. Like Jerry said, people have talked about me operating outside of my comfort zone and how I never do it anymore. And he said, if the people that believe that have no idea what they're talking about. Like, it's almost like Jerry for the past 2 weeks has been reading and dissecting everything that has been put out there about the Cowboys organization and has picked the stuff that he feels is most relevant that he's going to respond to. And that was one of them, that Jerry doesn't operate outside of his comfort zone. And he was like flat out pissed almost when he talked about the fact that he does operate outside of his comfort zone and that this was a move and a decision that was really, really risky for him because Brian Schottenheimer has never been an NFL head coach, and he's 51 years old. Oh, by the way, the last coach, this is another thing that we revealed yesterday, the last coach to come to an NFL organization that had never been an NFL head coach before and was over 50 years old, became a head coach and won a Super Bowl. Do you know who it is, Scotty? Come on, Scotty. Scotty doesn't know? I'll tell you who it is. This is good news for Cowboys fans. Barry Switzer. So there you go, right? Hey, come on now, Cowboys fans. Exciting stuff. But when I saw that, when I saw the press conference yesterday, there was a lot to glean from that. And I think, I'm sure right now as we do this, there's all kinds of like morning reaction shows on ESPN that are talking about it too. And Jerry mentioned something, and this is not a lie. I'm not making this up. Zach, you may have heard this. Zach's in the room with us. He talked about glory holes. Did you hear that?
Matt Mosley was standing right next to him in that clip.
Well, after the press conference, he said, this thing isn't all smiles and glory holes.
That's exactly what he said.
And a glory hole is, back in the wildcatting days, like you would basically almost hitting oil. Like you'd find like a 30-foot zone or whatever. I don't know this.
Still,
it's not the first time he's brought up glory holes at press conference.
Yeah.
Jerry needs someone who loves him and cares about him to step in and say, "Hey, Pop,
well,
maybe don't say that again."
Well, it's not going to be anybody in the media because as I watched him talk about glory holes yesterday, I rewound it and noticed if any of the 30 people standing around him, like if we got one reaction, like, no, nobody. Everybody's like, glory holes, let's go.
Well, and again, I'm not just saying this. When I saw the clip, Matt Mosley is standing immediately to Jerry Jones' right, holding his phone, getting all of it right there, and he wasn't going to interrupt and say anything.
Hey,
so.
Jared, tell me about those glory holes.
Jerry, Don't know if that's what you meant to say there.
And then, by the way, I'm not sure whose address the government is going to want to post first. Whether it could be Mike Hamilton's after I heard the Hellhound advertisement. That is like such a scary like voiceover that Mike does. You got to listen to that if you listen to the Rogue Media Network. It's called Hellhound, right? What's it called, Zach?
Hellhound Country.
Hellhound Country. We have a great promo, and Mike like almost howls and makes a scary voice. He does
like,
he does an amazing job. So that's kind of
Mike. Is that Mike for sure?
Because
they hired professional like actors.
Yeah, but that's what Mike does. Mike inside knows he's got talent and skill, so he likes to get a group of collaborators and talented people, and then being the cream, as he always does, rises to the top and takes he's top of the call sheet, as they say in Hollywood. But then Mosley at the end of the podcast yesterday, and I promise we're going to get back to sports in a second. Mosley at the end talked about, again, we're talking about the Doomsday podcast, Mosley and Ed Werder. Mosley talked about Mike Zimmer's new wife and how she's extremely younger than he is, and how, as it happens so many times with men who are so charming, they end up with women who are much, much younger than them.
Pete, there's a new trend I've noticed. I want to see if you've caught on to this.
I want to see. Hold on. I got it right here. Ready?
It's not.
Hold on.
Let's go out and get some perspective. Can't rule out the
Uh-huh.
and maybe we'll have her on the
Okay, here it is. Here it is.
That's when he was out of football, and he can always drop by our
He sat with
podcast.
us out in the defensive meeting room when he came back last year. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good visit with him. But he has gotten engaged recently, and Ed is sometimes happens with gentlemen that are as charming as he is. They end up with much younger women, and that is the case here. But we do wish him well. She seems very nice, and maybe we'll have her on the podcast as well.
Oh, just so you know, that those are two like big time sports writers. Like there are nuggets buried throughout the Doomsday Pod. Like, and the best part about that is, and if you watch the video, as sure Zach did, that Ed Werder like gets a huge kick out of Mosley. Like these little like quips that because Mosley is a funny ass dude.
Yeah,
as the great Kai Cenat says, dead ass, dude. Dead ass. Matt Mosley is funny. And that's another example.
Maybe we'll get her on the podcast sometime, Ed.
What a wisecracker.
Awesome.
So I think that a positive to take out of this, one, if you're a Cowboys fan, there's your marching orders from me. You've just got to accept that this is the reality. Nothing is going to change. So get on board and root for your team. And one thing to root for is that relationship right there that you're looking at on your screen. Dak Prescott could quite possibly thrive under Brian Schottenheimer. There's also a chance that it goes sideways and that it probably would have been better to take somebody else into the organization that could squeeze a little more out of Dak, right? Somebody that could make Dak uncomfortable to bring out the best in him. But I guess you're not looking to make someone uncomfortable who you've just given, most money in NFL history to. So we will continue to track the Cowboy situation. Yeah, but props to Mosley and to Werder for getting that podcast up yesterday, and for Zach Burke. Great job by the Rogue Media Network. I think that will do amazing numbers, which is always good for us around here. Good for college basketball, good for the Big 12. So yesterday, I do want to go over. So top 25 comes back out. We're not going to get into the teams right now, but I can tell you the top 50 net rankings by conference. Okay, this is as of yesterday. And I'll just do the top ones. The Big 10 has 10 teams in the net top 50. The Big 12 has 9, and the SEC has 13. So the SEC leads with 13. The Big 10 has 10, and the Big 12 has 9. Nobody else even comes close. Well, the ACC has 6, right? So the Big 12 is one of the most powerful conferences in the country. As illustrated this weekend, an amazing game between Houston and Kansas. Houston was able to hold on and win, and double overtime, just overtime, sorry, but ridiculously exciting. And then last night, right, Arizona ends up beating, did you have this, Scotty? The Arizona highlight? Yeah. So Arizona ends up beating Iowa State. Now the game It's a 3-point game, right? Here's Caleb Love at the buzzer. Yeah. So that tied the game. Caleb Love, by the way, had been shooting terribly. So this ties the game. And do we have sound on that, Scotty, that we can turn up? Okay, no problem. I'll tell you what happened. So, and in overtime, that game got Caleb Love, who was like 1 of 11 on the night, going. I mean, that half-court shot got him going. So, Iowa State's ranked 3rd in the country. This was and look at McHale Center. Like, I got a chance to do the Colorado-Arizona game on Saturday at McHale for ESPN, and the place was rocking then. And the fans, not the coaches, not Tommy Lloyd and Caleb Love, but the fans were talking about, not only do we have this huge game today on Saturday against Colorado, but on Monday night, Iowa State is coming, and it's Big Monday, ESPN. We're going to be going crazy. The whole world's going to be watching, and people who stayed up late got to watch Caleb Love and his team upset Iowa State in just like a vintage college basketball moment, a vintage college basketball game. On the call for that game, John Shambi and Fran Fraschilla. On the call for the Kansas-Houston game, John Shambi and Fran Fraschilla. And those two are it's just a harmony to me. They did an amazing job. We're trying to get Fran on our show here Wednesday or Thursday because I want to talk to him about those games. And I also want to talk to him about he's going to be calling Baylor and Kansas coming up this weekend at home, which could be a really cool game for Baylor as they continue to move forward, because if they win 3 straight, there'll be a lot of heat around Baylor in that game on Saturday. Baylor has to take care of business tonight and beat BYU, which will be a tough game, the second game of that road swing out there in Utah. But they, again, handled business against a Utah team that had been percolating a little bit, but not very good. Scotty, anything to add before the break?
Not at all.
Not at all.
We're ready for Chuck when we come back.
Pete Sousa, Scotty Swingler. When we come back, we're going to tell you the greatest conference of all time and why it was and when it was. Stay with us.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. Unlock your full potential with Onnit, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, Onnit has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At Toussaint's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Toussaint's.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
All right, Everson.
There he is. How you doing, Pete?
Hey, man, what's going on? Hey, Scotty, can you turn him up a little bit? There's Chuck Everson, and basically what is the museum.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right?
Well, listen, there's a lot of Villanova stuff in here, and then, there's some family stuff. But and I've got all the championships represented, Pete. It's not just 85.
Not just 85.
No.
You are the lighthouse from 1985, and I keep people coming back. Hang on. You got hear that, Scott? Okay, how about now? Okay. That's better. All right, so Chuck, I want to ask you a little bit about Big East Rewind. And what exactly is it if you don't know? Because I know what the Big East meant to me, but you tell me.
Well, my partner, Sonny Sparrow, and I, Sonny played for Syracuse, and of course I played at Villanova, and we came about this. I did a show called the Hoya Locker Room with Gene Smith and Billy Martin. It was the first time that I know of that players from those teams got together and chopped it up about Big East, and I said, you know what, I could do that. And I grabbed Sonny. Sonny and I knew each other from my visit. And we talk all about the old school Big East up till current day. We kind of bridge the past with the present. And we've had everybody you can think of come on. It's been really a cool ride. And the friendships that have come out of this, Pete, are incredible. I mean, I was at the Villanova-Georgetown game last week with Reggie Williams and his wife as my guest. And people's heads were snapping like, what are they doing together? What's going on? And it's been awesome. I mean, I've been out with him. He was on the show. We talked about the event, the whole incident at halftime. For those of you that don't know, I took a shot in the face from Reggie, and it gave me my 15 minutes of fame, Pete. I've milked that for 40 years, buddy. I don't know anybody else that could do that. I owe a debt of gratitude to the Villanova marketing department, because I milked that for 40 years. And I said to Reggie, I said, I think I owe you dinner. He said, you do. So we went to dinner, and we've been friends ever since.
So, but you were kind of carrying the torch for a lot of us that remember the Big East and just how amazing it was. What does it mean for you to kind of be able to continue that legacy?
Well, it's a labor of love, obviously, Pete. The Big East, Villanova, it's I'm kind of figuring out that that's what I do without even really knowing what I do. It's bringing guys together. I have text threads with the guys because I've gotten a lot of numbers from the different teams. So I have a Providence, a Seton Hall, a St. John's, a Georgetown. So if anything's going on in those groups, I just say, hey, listen, by the way, this happened or that happened. Or, oh, thanks, So it's kind of cool because now I go to games and guys from other teams are coming over to me and talking, and guys that I never would have really had a relationship with, but it's so much fun because there is that bond there. When you played in that conference, especially back then when it was tough and rugged, and when you played in that conference, I mean, we went through the same stuff. We just wore different uniforms. That was basically what I'm finding out after doing this for 4 years.
You know, you've done such a tremendous job, but also, like you mentioned at the beginning, bridging the gap. Like some of the guys you've had on, like I listened to or watched Jalen Brunson coming on. Some of the bigger names in the NBA today are now featured on this show, and I think that's amazing. I mean, it's hard for NBC in New York to get to Jalen Brunson, but Chuck Everson can.
Well, it's funny because I'll tell you how that happens, right? I mean, Jalen's a different guy because we know him from Villanova, and Villanova is family, as you know, okay? But other guys that we've had on, I'll interview somebody, and everybody's hesitant because they're not really sure what we do. As you know, in this business, there's a lot of negative stuff. People want to hear about the dirt and all. We're not interested in that. We're interested about what happened in the locker room, on the bus ride. We're interested in your career, all the good stuff that everybody likes to talk about. And when they leave, they have a comfort level with Sonny and I, and they feel really good about it. You go, hey, Chuck, you know who I can get for you? I can get this guy or that guy. Well, get him. Call me, and I will. We'll put him on. And we've had people from all walks, all different views. We've had officials on. We've had Froggy Paparo and Timmy Higgins on, and they're telling stories about stuff that happened in the game that we had no idea. You would never know unless you were in the game. You know what I mean? We've had mascots on. We've had we've had assist with media people. We've had everybody on, and have gotten a real 360-degree view of the conference.
So the 85 team gets back together last week. Share a little bit about that experience and some of the memories that were brought up.
Well, it's always fun when we get together, and the good news about that is we may not have been in the same room in about 10 years, but I'm always in touch with everybody. I talk to 2 or 3 guys a week, and not always the same guys, and we get together in small groups. But it was so good to have everybody back, and we had such a great turnout. We lost Velcher Dawson. Velcher passed away 2 years ago, and then Connolly Brown, his last assignment with the FBI was in Senegal, Africa. So now he's doing the security for the African Basketball League. So he's based in Senegal, so he couldn't make it. And we had everybody else there. The whole first 8, the guys that all played in the game were all there. The starters were there. Gary McLean was there. Eddie Pinkney, Dwayne, everybody was there, and it was a lot of fun. We had Villanova did a terrific job of putting it together, especially Arlisha Davison, who was Jay's right-hand person and now is Kyle Neptune's right-hand person. She does a good job. And she has me work with her on certain things when it comes to the basketball alums, which is really great because I'm in touch with basically everybody.
Yeah, because you got keys.
That's right.
But you feel great support. Like, I can say, Chuck, like, my mother who's 80 and working in the athletic department, like, you reach out to someone like her. And, like, you make her, month or year or whatever, by including her in something like that.
Yeah.
And I know that because I got a front row seat, and I can never thank you enough for that. But there's also guys on your team who I'm sure this connection continues to enthuse, right? I mean, because we all go back. I talked to some of my Richmond football teammates yesterday for about 30 minutes, and it's just like it's a special deal. And by the way, unfortunately, I'm so happy these guys are getting paid now, but they're not getting the same experiences that you guys got, and I don't know that they'll have the relationships.
I tend to agree with you, Pete. I mean, it's difficult. Listen, whether we win or lose on April 1st, this would still be the way it is because I'm the guy that's doing it, And we included everybody we could think of. Your mom was one. Also, Coach Harry Booth, who passed away. We invited his children and wife to come. They came. One of his sons was there with his mom. So it was awesome. That's the way Coach Mass wanted it. I'm just trying to carry his legacy as best I can. He wanted everybody to be together as family, and we can try to continue that to the best that we can. And that's basically what it's all about. But when you talk about having guys that are, from different walks of life, and everybody goes through it, Pete. Everybody goes through life. You have your ups and your downs. And when you can pick up the phone and call any one of those 14 guys, and they'll be there for you. We had a couple of guys had issues. Hey, Chuck, I'm in the car. I said, I tell my wife, I'll see you later. I got to go see Dwight, or I got to go see Brian, or I got to go see Harry, or, whoever. And that's the way it is with us, and it's like that with a lot of teams. You just don't hear about it as much, but, and some teams, to be honest with you, don't have that bunch, and they they look at us and they go, "How do you do that? We want that. How do we get that?" You know. So we're very fortunate as the group that played for Coach Mass.
So, what was your favorite story that was recanted last week around the '85 team? I know there were a lot of them.
Well, there's a million of them. Listen, and you know what? The stories are told thousands of times, and we laugh just as hard 40 years later, which is really funny. But I'll tell you something that happened over the last couple of years that I actually told Thursday night. Some of the guys didn't know this. You know, definitely the people that were in the room, your mom included, didn't know this. And Coach Mass's, one of his favorite haunts was a place called Maris on Passyunk in South Philadelphia. Just down the road from Pat's and Gino's, not far from there at all. And he would go in there, and I'm looking on Facebook one day, Pete, and I see Rolly Massimino's favorite. That's the name of the dish that's on the menu. That's all it says, Rolly Massimino's favorite. I said, I have to go. So I have sites there, I have customers there, and my boss, I told him, I said, hey, look, we got to go to this place for lunch. We're the first ones there, okay? So nothing is open, they just opened, the music's not even on yet, all right? So as a freshman, to set this up, as a freshman, you had to sing for your supper, okay? That was part of the ritual of becoming part of the team, all right? And it was like an American Idol type of thing. We had some guys that were good, and we had some guys that were really, really bad, like William Hung. Wyatt Maker was the William Hung of our team, okay? So he wrote the words to Eye of the Tiger on his hand. And he was so nervous, he sweated them off, and the only song he knew was the Brady Bunch song. So he sang the Brady Bunch. And what would happen is guys like John Pannone and Mulquin and those guys, at pregame meal, we had toast, and they had a little dish of honey in front of each guy. So if you were bad, they would dip the toast in honey and pelt you with pieces of toast, and Wyatt was covered from head to foot. But there were two guys that were really good. Steve Lapis did a great rendition of My Girl, and every time we get together, Steve sings it. And Neil McShay, who was a manager for our team, he did Under the Boardwalk. And every time we got together, whether it was in Florida or whatever, Coach Mass would say, Neil, sing the song, okay? So we sit down. Now I'm back at the restaurant. We sit down, and I order Coach's favorite meal, and it's a rigatoni with broccoli rabe. I got a little side of sausage, okay, with white sauce on everything, okay? So I knew it's the white sauce because being around him enough, I know what it is, and a glass of wine. And the guy brings over the meal. He puts it down in front of me, and the music goes on. And what's the song playing on the stereo is Under the Boardwalk. So I was like, what? I said, so I look at my boss. I go, hey, I think I'm having a moment here. What song is on the speaker? He said, Under the Boardwalk. I said, I took a big dish of pasta. I said, here you go, Coach. I had lunch with Coach Mass. So I called RC, his son. I said, I think I just had lunch with your dad. He goes, what are you talking about? And I tell him the story. He goes, the hair on the back of my neck is standing up, Chuck. I said,
mine too.
It's crazy. Yep.
Oh, man, that's so great. Now, you go to the game. Villanova basketball is it's up and down.
Yeah.
The support around that, and I'm not asking you for any dirt or anything, but what are you making of the situation there right now, as opposed to when you played? What is different now?
Well, there's a lot different. I mean, the first thing that's different is when we played, we were there 4 years. Now kids can jump and leave whenever they want. It's hard when Villanova's got a culture that Coach Mass started. And Jay continued it, and Jay polished it up and gave it names for different things, We play for those who came before us and stuff like that. Now Kyle's trying to do the same thing, but how do you do that when you got 8 or 9 guys that are brand new every year? How do you develop that culture? I mean, it's very difficult, and he's having a hard time with some of the guys. And we had Eric Dixon on the show, and I said to Eric, I said, how do you, do we have to reinvent our culture, or do we? He goes, no, these guys are going to be okay. They're getting it. He goes, they want to learn. Some teams that we've had no interest in that because they weren't gonna. They all knew they're not gonna be there for the long term. It's it goes back to your point earlier, Pete, when with the closeness of our team versus these other teams. We have a lot of basketball alums that come back for all these events. Sometimes over 100. There's I think Summer Jam is 150 guys there that played. So now what happens is those guys aren't going to come back because they played for one season. So I mean it's difficult. That's the most difficult thing. That and the fact that I think the NIL they have a handle on. Randy Foy has got a group that's working with those guys. I don't think that is as big an issue as people may think, but the portal is what's really hurting teams like Villanova, like Seton Hall. Some of the teams in that kind of basket. St. John's to a certain degree. I mean, but now Rick Pitino's there, so that's different. You got a Hall of Fame coach who was a former Big East coach back in the Big East. So it makes it tough when you have somebody like Kyle who's doing a good job, but he's new to coaching. This is only his fourth year, I believe. He had 1 year at Fordham, and now this is his third at Villanova. So,
being here, I don't get as many Big East games as I would like. I did Seton Hall and Taylor last year, the Big East Big 12 battle, and I got a chance to see one of Shaheen Holloway's shoot rounds. And boy, he is intense. He's old school, man. He is old school, and it's like old school Big East, and you don't see that. And many other schools with many other coaches. Yeah. And it's cool to see how he brings an extension of that, right, into what he's doing now, but you just don't see it. You don't see it that often, and it's kind of a missing piece. Speaking of guys like Shaheen, or I know Fran Fraschilla, but who's your favorite guest? One of the guys, like you have Lou Carnesecca on shortly before he passed, which was
that
like,
was awesome.
I can imagine that was
I mean, that was probably the most fun that we've had. Him and Patrick Ewing. We had a great time with Patrick. I've never seen Ewing do an interview where he's hysterical laughing the whole interview, And a lot of it had to do with, I mean, one of the things I said to him when, at that time he was coaching, and he walked in, and the people at the Garden were asking him for ID. So he had to walk the kid onto the court and go, my ID's up in the rafters. So we told him, hey, even though Sonny's an Orangeman, we don't want you to get upset, Pat. I promise you nobody's going to ask you for ID. And he cracked up laughing. He knew exactly what we were doing, And with Louis, we were trying to get Coach for over a year, and his people that help him out were a little bit hesitant because of his age and everything. I said, look, he doesn't know electronics. I said, he don't have to know anything. I said, I'll come to him. So we actually sat in his kitchen and interviewed him, okay? And he was great. I mean, he was as sharp as a tack, knew everything, knew names, remembered things. We didn't go crazy. We kept him for like 40 minutes. But then he wanted us to stay, and he said, I'll tell you a funny story. This is hilarious, actually. He says to us, bring it in, like he's still coaching. We're at the kitchen table. He goes, I want to thank you guys for getting me out of jail today. I said, what do you mean? He goes, I live with 4 women. My wife's got Alzheimer's. She don't know who I am. She's got a caregiver. I have somebody who takes care of me. She speaks Spanish. I don't. And my housekeeper is Polish. She doesn't speak English. So you guys are really saving me. I said, oh, okay. Let me get you a piece of cake and a cup of coffee. Like the old Italian thing, Like, I don't want you to talk bad about me. Okay, Coach. So he gets us the cake and the coffee. First, he's calling for the Polish lady he goes, Chuck, what did she defect? She don't answer me. Did she defect? Did she go back to Poland? So we're laughing. We're hysterical. So we get the coffee, and I go, Coach, here. I said, now we can't talk about you. We got the cake. So he goes, well, that doesn't do anything for your intelligence, does it, Chuck? So I looked at him. So, and there's 2 guys that help him out. They're going, Chuck, come on now. And I said, hey, stop. I'm looking at Louis dead in the face, and I said, I know what that means. And he's shaking his head, yes. I said, that means I'm down with the St. John's guys. I said, all I need now is the blessing from the Pope of St. John's, and I do one of these. And he blessed me. Right? So he says, hey, Everson. I said, yeah, here's your penance. I said, okay. don't ever come in my house wearing a Villanova shirt ever again. So I had a Villanova shirt. I goes, don't ever come here like that again. So about 3 weeks later, Sonny and I take Coach out for lunch. He's got a spot around the corner. It was a nice day. I called Ron and Reno, and they had us. Coach met us at the place. So we walk in. We went to the St. John's bookstore. We walk in with St. John's hats on, just because of what he said. And he goes, "Now that's much better. Give me those hats." And he signed both of them. So he was great, man.
I gotta imagine what you in the later stages of his life. That had to be a day that he still or talked about.
He talked about it for months, because I would always call and check up on him, and and you know what else too? I mean, I'm tight with Ronnie Stewart. Ronnie was a Brentwood guy, and Ronnie played for Coach, and Billy Winnington and some of those guys I know pretty well. And I call him and I say, "Hey man, you need to get back in town and go see Coach before you can't see him anymore." So I said, because I went through it. I knew when Coach was getting sick, Coach Mass. Yeah. I knew that I had to go a couple more times, and it might be inconvenient for me, but you'll never regret it. Spending extra time with your coach. And a lot of those guys did come back and see him, which was great.
All right, so you've everybody on the give me your one last question for you. Who's the one you're still seeking to
Chris
get?
Mullen.
It's either hard to get in touch with, because some guys, as you know, either flake out on us, or they're just like,
Chris Mullen. Right? Without even thinking, Chris Mullen. Yeah. Because Chris is a great guy. I played in the men's leagues with Chris for years. My daughter went to St. John's for her doctorates and stuff, and we took her down to meet Coach Mullen at the time. So she comes in, she goes, "Okay, Pinckney, she calls Pinckney Uncle Ed, she calls Harold Uncle Harold, So Pinckney says he's on FaceTime with Chris, and he goes, "I don't know what those guys are doing, but take care of my niece." So Chris looks at her and says, "What do you want?" She goes, "I need gear, I need seats, and I need you to beat these guys. I'm really tired of listening to them." So Chris gives her a big hug, takes care of her, and I've talked to Chris's brothers. I've talked to Chris's agent. I've talked to Eddie Pinckney. I've talked to Ron Stewart. They all call Chris. Chris says, "Yep, I'm in. I have his number. I have his brother's numbers, because we used to play all the time." And ghost. So I'm looking to run into Chris so I can just physically get him in person.
I never see him on any interviews.
No, he doesn't do hardly anything. Yep.
Part of my story is I'm a Twitter guy. So whenever he talks about sobriety in one way or another, which is cool.
Yeah.
But you never see him. He is like a ghost.
No, I know. So he's the guy right now that listen, some of the guys that we've gotten requests to talk to guys. Walter Berry was a guy that everybody wanted to talk to, and we got Walter. I kept contacting him through Facebook, and I know him. He knows me. I know him. And so I literally run into him at the Big East tournament last year. And I said, "Walt, come on." He goes, "Yeah, I didn't think that was you. I thought that was somebody." I said, "Who's going to impersonate me, Walt? Come on." So he goes, "Here's my private number. Call me. I promise you I'll come on." And he was great. He was great, And so usually when they're hesitant and then they come on, they have such a good time. They want, "When can I do it again?" That's been the.
He loved it, dude.
Yeah, Timmy's great. He's our guy. Timmy's our guy, and he's been on twice, I think. And I make it a point to, when I come into an arena, I always look to see who's doing the game. And whenever Tim's doing a game, or Raft, or John Fanta, those three guys in particular, those are our guys. We go over and say hi to all those guys, and cut it up with them. And Tim has been fantastic. He's been such a supporter of what Sonny and I do, and he's always posting stuff on X about us and things. So we appreciate him, and the other two guys too. John Fanta, another guy just like that, and Raft. Raft, I give a pass. We know Raft 30 years pretty much. He's always been around the program, but he's not an IT guy. He's not real savvy with some of the social media stuff. But we know he loves us, and we love him.
Chuck, man, I love you, and I appreciate everything you do. Villanova family, and the fact that you are able to put this show out there for us to consume it and to relive some of the great moments and to be a part of some of the great moments to come. And it's real cool, man. So Big East Rewind is the show. Man, is Chuck Everson. Chuck, anything else?
Well, yeah, you can get us on. We're on Sirius now. We're on the Sirius XM app.
Wow.
So you can get us on Sirius XM and on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcast from.
Dude, Sirius, there you go.
See, there you go.
Chuck Everson and Howard Stern. There you go.
Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought, Pete?
Long Islanders back together.
That's it, man.
All right, Chuck.
Thanks, pal. All right, you take.
That's my man, Chuck Everson. I could, for folks living in the Central Texas area, I could go on forever. But how about I go on after the break? We'll step aside. We've got one last block coming up, but thanks so much to Chuck Everson. Pretty cool to hear that they're on the Sirius XM. And, we're trying to get him over here at Rogue. He's like our version of Chris Mullen now, I guess. We'll be right back.
Shades is your trusted partner in stage lighting, offering a wide range of high-quality, innovative products since 2015. With designs that cater to all needs, fast delivery, and affordable prices, we provide exceptional customer service to ensure your satisfaction. With warehouses across the globe and sales in over 100 countries, Sheds is quickly becoming one of the most recognized names in the stage lighting industry. Visit shehds.com today to discover top-tier stage lighting solutions and become part of our global network.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoalUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Chapellex is a full-category shapewear brand dedicated to providing women with exceptional comfort and support. We offer thoughtfully designed solutions that blend style with functionality, empowering women to feel confident and at ease every day. Chapellex is redefining what it means to have a perfect body. Our mission celebrates body positivity, embracing every shape and size, because true beauty lies in authenticity. Visit shapellx.com today and join a movement towards self-love, acceptance, and confidence.
Indulge in Blum's luxurious Lotus Flower Rolls. The green Lotus Roll bursts with a caramel apple flavor, while the blue Lotus Roll offers a smooth berry cream sensation. With our Crush for Flavor technology, enjoy an instant burst of natural, intense flavor anytime you desire. Elevate your experience with the finest creations nature has to offer. Explore the full collection at blumleaf.com. That's BLUUMLEAF.com. Blumleaf. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
All right, Pete Sousa Show. We continue. Thanks to Chuck Everson, Big East Rewind, a heck of a show. And yeah, you can catch him on Sirius on YouTube. And Chuck is he's a member of the Villanova family, and he's always kind of taking good care of my family. So I just can't thank that dude enough. Great guy, great content out there for him. And it was cool hearing him talk a little bit about, it's almost scary, just how the transfer portal, and I appreciated him breaking that down, how it's not, the NIL is great. Let's get these guys paid. And that will forever be a pain in the ass for coaches. But at the same time, it's maybe something they can manage. The transfer portal in that situation is not. It's really tough to build something when you have guys who can leave at any time. And I truly do believe in, contracts. And honoring them. And if there's a disagreement, you hold out or you talk about it. But I do appreciate a binding contract. And that brings me to the situation in Miami. I just want to read this latest report from Shams Charania. This was yesterday, that the Heat suspended Jimmy Butler without pay for an indefinite period of time after the disgruntled star walked out of practice Monday. It's the third time Butler has been suspended by the Heat in recent weeks, and it comes as he was expected to return from his second suspension Monday night against the Magic. The Heat said the latest suspension will last at least 5 games. That'll take Miami through the trade deadline. So here's the deal. Apparently, he was told when he got to practice that he wouldn't start, and he left. The veteran requested a trade, and the Heat have said that they're working to find a deal. He could lose almost $500,000. He could lose over $500,000 because of the suspension. And let's see the end of the facts on this. This is what Eric Spoelstra said. What it means right now is we've just proved to ourselves that we have a tremendous amount of grit because they won last night in double overtime. That's what Eric Spoelstra said. And you gain confidence from that. Well, look, man. Jimmy Butler has a contract with the Miami Heat. And so he should go to work. And when he does go to work, he should do what is expected of an employee of that organization to do. Now, I get it. Like, it's a players' league. So coaches and front offices do have to find a way to acquiesce to their stars and to their players. That has been a situation that has been taking shape for some time now, over the course of the last, 20 years plus, all the way back to, when I was in college and Allen Iverson was with the Sixers. I mean, that was when it was very clear that this was becoming a players' league. And now the money, and especially even from a media perspective, it's like a lot of these players don't even need media outlets anymore like they needed them before, because they have their own message that they can get out on their own platform or their own medium. And, the old saying, the message is the medium, like if you have a way of getting your stuff out, that becomes awfully impactful, and it also changes the game for everyone else. But the brass tacks and what I'm talking about, because the Miami Heat, as far as I know, from reading this, and I have been kept up to speed on this, they haven't done anything egregious per se to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler and the Heat have had an amazing relationship for a lot of years. And, Jimmy Butler, this is kind of what happens with him. I got a text from an NBA guy the other day, somebody in a front office, who I asked about this Jimmy Butler situation. And they said, this is how it ends everywhere Jimmy Butler goes. Like something like this happens. But, the Heat got a lot of good years out of Jimmy Butler. So I think if you're Pat Riley and you're the Heat, you find a way to trade him. And you don't hold him hostage anymore, right? Which is what you can consider the situation is becoming, because Jimmy Butler doesn't want to be there. And if he doesn't want to be there, they should trade him. And so that is the option that the Heat seem to be left with. With with Jimmy Butler, it's like it's a bummer that this guy will not honor a contract and will not behave in the manner that an organization pays an employee to behave in. There's certain expectations that come with being a professional, and you'd like to see those expectations met and these contracts honored. So I can understand the frustration with Pat Riley and the Heat, but it's also a new day. You got to move on. Again, it goes back to the first segment when we talked about the Cowboys. For Cowboys fans, it's like, look, man, you're either in or you're out, right? If you're in, you might as well start tapping into some radical acceptance and try to find the positives, because you're going to drive yourself batshit otherwise. But if you want to be out, you can be out too. You know, you can stop cheering for the team. You can stop. And I know that's tough because, as I've always said, you know, these teams are like public trusts. But if it's becoming too much for you emotionally, there's another avenue you can take. And for Pat Riley and the Heat, it looks like they're really going to have to put the pedal to the metal trying to find another option, because, you know, it looks all indications are that Caleb Love, Jimmy Butler has played his last game in Miami. Caleb Love, on the other hand, wow, Arizona, like we mentioned at the top of the show, beating Iowa State in an overtime thriller last night. One thriller that I kept an eye on, I got a show for you guys. I watched, there was Peacock did a documentary about Diddy, and it was good. It was an hour and a half, nuts and bolts, you know, kind of refresher, but it was good. I give it like a B-, right? Maybe a C+. HBO Max has a documentary out that I watched. It's a series, and it's called The Downfall of Diddy. It's with HBO Max, and it was produced by like ID, you know, which I guess Max pretty much owns everything. So like they own, I don't know, whatever, but it's part of their umbrella now. And it's really good. It like really dives into the making of this media mogul, right? That's what the first episode I saw last night. But like, whereas, you know, there was an event, a celebrity basketball game at City College in New York, where people died. And it was an event put on by Diddy when he was with Uptown Records. And I mean, first of all, it was a celebrity basketball game. Big Daddy Kane was going to play in it. Mike Tyson was going to play in it. Like Boys to Men, Jodeci, like you name it. There were Mary J. Blige, like huge artists were going to play in this game, and everybody wanted to go. And there was an incident where the doors were shut because too many people were coming in. It was just a disaster, right? And you know, did Diddy and Heavy D, like who put this event together, they didn't want to see people die, but they didn't, you know, they did not set this thing up right at all. And wow, they go deep into this event, and you know, nine people died at this event, and it's like it was harrowing to watch. And they do a tremendous job though, going into the news footage from inside the arena. Like, and this is an event that was quickly glossed over in that Paramount documentary. The one thing I continue to, you know, I'm a slow learner, right? I'm more of like a crock pot than like a microwave. And what I learned from watching this last night, or what's starting to really set in with me, is that this dude was so young. And first of all, he was from such a screwed up environment growing up, but he was so young when he got this amazing success. And we're not talking about like first round draft pick success. We're talking about you control all of hip hop success. And, you know, clearly he wasn't equipped for that. And became an extremely dangerous individual. But I believe like he became so intoxicated with himself and his own fame at such a young age that he truly thought he was invincible and truly thought he could do anything and treat people any way he wanted to. Yeah, he was pretty screwed up dude. So I recommend that one, Downfall of Diddy on Max. Yeah, and tomorrow I recommend you hang with us. We're looking at a couple big guests. We're going to be on location at Crawford Austin Properties. It will be a lot of fun. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. So the Pete Sousa Show, make sure you like and subscribe too. We're almost up to 5,000 subscribers. Around here, for me, that's a big deal. So let's keep climbing that ladder. Appreciate everybody for listening, and we will check you tomorrow.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internext.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. We are Rogue Media Sports.